appreciate you checking out this video. Before I continue, I want you to go to theultimatejetguide.com, where I've put together a full guide for jet buyers like yourself. Here's a question. If I'm a buyer and I'm looking at, okay, how much is this? I'm looking to buy a plane. How much is this plane worth? And I look up the VREF and the VREF says it's worth $500,000. Is VREF gospel?
So VREF is very accurate. I think margin of error, I mean, it's usually for me when I run numbers about 3%, which to me is very accurate.
Yeah, that's very accurate. Yeah.
I would say the vast majority of errors that I see are user induced, meaning they don't have the experience to value the equipment. They're doing the best they can, but they're either missing high dollar items, or they're deducting too much, or they're not adjusting for things because they don't have the experience. And I'll tell you what's real subjective: condition. And forget piston aircraft. I mean, because they're not moving the meter, right? But if it's $100,000 airplane and you don't think it's got new paint, I mean, you just dinged it 20 grand, you're going to get the call about it, right? So I mean, in that case, it's 20% of the value. On a business jet, gets very subjective. Maintenance, subjective. Pedigree, subjective. Condition is subjective, right? And we all have opinions, and that's why the famous line is, if you put 10 appraisers in a room, you're going to get 10 different numbers.
Yeah,
because we all look at it a little differently. We're human. But I think that what separates those that know the equipment, I didn't say know what they're doing, but know the equipment, and I think, again, that's really important. If we go to a different industry, and let's talk about music. I'm a big musician. I love guitars. I would never give a guitar to an art appraiser to tell me what it's worth, even if it's vintage, because they don't know anything about guitars. They might know provenance. They might know that, some things about the history of the manufacturer, but you got to use a screwdriver, and get the right screwdriver to screw in a screw. You're not going to use a hammer. And so I think people don't ask enough questions, and they certainly don't ask the appraiser for their qualifications. And I see a lot of people that appraise equipment that know nothing about the equipment that they're appraising, or they've never been on board the airplane. They've never seen it in real life. How can you? It's like, I mean, the number one rule, right? I mean, you got to know what it is before you tell somebody what it's worth, right? And so that's the difference, is they don't have the experience to be able to separate, and we're talking on a vintage long-range aircraft, an interior refurbishment could be well over $1 million. You get that wrong on a $10 million airplane, right? I mean, that's the problem.